And let's get ready to pod here on 99 Pod. I am your boy, the one and only, the real Leel. And I'm here to keep it real. It's in my name. And let's get ready to get this show started. Okay, we are going to break down David Benavidez, a.k.a. the Mexican Monster, versus Demetrius Andrade, a.k.a. Boo Boo. Tell me what it do. Make sure y'all like and subscribe to the channel and comment and like on this video because we are trying to grow this channel. Now, as I break down this fight coming up in a couple of days, right? I would say the question that I have in my mind, and this is the main question that I have, right? Because there's a lot of ways you could look at this fight. Obviously, from the contrasting styles and, will David Benavidez cut off the ring? Will Demetrius Andrade, weather the storm? Like, it's a lot of questions you could ask, but my $1 million question, right, is did Caleb Plant leave a blueprint for Demetrius Andrade against David Benavidez? Okay? Translation, did David Benavidez get exposed in his last win over Caleb Plant? And I would like to answer my own question because when you reflect back to Caleb Plant and David Benavidez, right, which was, the last fight of both of these fighters, and it was a good fight, for 5 rounds, Caleb Plant was outboxing Benavidez. I thought he won the first 5 rounds, and then Caleb Plant got hit with a body shot, and that was all she wrote from there because obviously Benavidez was able to cut off the ring, was able to throw his, usual punches and combinations, punches and bunches, and he was able to stop Caleb Plant, who we all know, well, obviously went to the cards, but he was able to stop the movement and everything that Caleb Plant was relying on in the earlier rounds. And obviously the stamina issues with Caleb Plant was prevalent once more. But he did win 5 rounds in my book. So the question is, did Plant show or literally lob up the blueprint for Andrade to use what he did to have success in those 5 rounds and go from there? And I guess you gotta answer with yes, right? Because we saw that Benavidez, as good as he is, we gotta be clear here, this guy's the Mexican Monster for a reason. He's one of the more entertaining boxers in the world for a reason. But we gotta keep it real though. He does have flaws. All right, his feet, my guy got slow feet, okay? Gotta keep it a bean with bro, all right? And he does have flaws. And if you're a guy that's not stationary, if you're a guy that can move and outpoint Benavidez, then you are that guy and prototype that can give David Benavidez trouble. Now, what I do want to make clear, for any of you guys listening to this show right now, is that Caleb Plant and Andrade is not the same fighter. We need to stop this madness right now. They're not. Okay? Now, do they rely on fundamentals? Yes. Right? Do they rely on defense? Yes. Right? Do they try to outbox you and win on points? Yes. Or are they known for knockouts? No. Okay, now, Andrade definitely has knocked down some guys, okay, in early rounds, and then reverted back to boxing and won on points, right? So they're not fully the same, okay? You gotta look at Andrade. My guy is a slick, awkward southpaw who throws punches from different angles, okay? He's a tactician. He knows how to control the distance. So to me, he's gonna be a tougher class for David Benavidez to pass, okay? And I think Caleb Plant on the other side was actually a good prerequisite for David Benavidez because I do think that Andrade is a higher class than Caleb Plant, and this is just my humbling, honest opinion, okay? So you could look at that one question in different ways and take it as positives for not only Andrade taking that blueprint and seeing how Plant was able to outbox David Benavidez for 5 rounds, but you can use that in favor of David Benavidez. He could be able to learn from those first 5 rounds and see what he could do better. For example, I have a suggestion, maybe throw to the body a little bit more earlier. Because when, he connected to Caleb Plant with a body shot, And Caleb Plant came out and talked about that shot and how it slowed him down and it, tampered with his breathing. He was able to stop him, and we all know the stamina issues came into play. So I thought in that fight that David Benavidez was headhunting too much. Maybe going to the body a little bit more to stop your opponent movement, could be able to be something that you could learn from and do in a fight against Andrade, right? We all know Andrade was put down by a body shot in his last fight against Nicholson. Obviously, he got back up and did what he had to do to win that fight, to move on and to keep that O on his record. Now, that's first things first, okay? Now, with my breakdown for this upcoming fight, look, Andrade gets the notion of being a boring fighter, right? And is he boring? Sometimes, right? But I do think he has underrated pop, okay? I really do, because he knocked down a lot of his opponents. Like I said, for whatever reason, he didn't opt to go for the statement route. He opted to go to showing his boxing skills, and win that way, and that's cool. I think if you're Andrade, if you do get to a point where you can hurt Benavidez, then you should go for the statement victory, especially when you're trying to secure that fight against Canelo. But that's another topic for another day. It's a very interesting look when you talk about this fight, because in some ways this fight, and Andrade in particular, kind of reminds me of Crawford and Spence in these regards. Now, before antennas go up, I need you to hear me out here, okay? When you talk about Crawford and Spence, one thing about Spence that we all know, or should have known, was that he was a weight bully, okay? And that was evident when he fought fighters that were smaller than him, that was less stronger than him. He was able to throw his fundamental jab and walk down his opponents. Crawford was a bit stronger than what most people gave him credit for. I gave them that credit. That's why I actually thought he was going to win that fight, because I didn't think that Spence was just going to walk him down, okay? And I thought Crawford was going to be able to match that with his strength, and clearly he did. There were times when they were in the clinch, and Crawford was like, get off me, okay? And, with the tactical boxing that he does, okay? And he was able to win that fight. He didn't even have to fight and change styles. My point being that Crawford, everybody came at his resume. He haven't fought nobody. And let's be clear here on this end. None of these guys fought anybody except for Caleb Plant, which David Benavidez fought. But outside of Caleb Plant, who was already beat by Canelo, none of these guys really fought anybody, okay? Now, in regards to Andrade, we can't underestimate this guy's amateur background. I think he has a lot of experience on his hands, on his side. When you talk about his amateur background, when you talk about the fact that although he hasn't fought the great competition like how he was criticizing with Crawford, his skills, he dominated everybody who was put in front of him. And I think when you talk about this fight, a lot of people think that Benavidez is just going to walk him down. Now, I do think eventually that Benavidez will cut off the ring and be able to land those punches and bunches that he wants to throw. I think eventually it's going to happen, okay? Because we got to remember that Benavidez don't get tired, okay? My guy's like a 24-hour gas tank, okay? He don't have no stamina issues. My guy don't get tired. Like, bro, do you get tired, bro? You throwing all these punches. Do you get tired? No, he don't get tired, okay? Actually, it seems like it's the opposite. He turns it on, okay, in the back end. So eventually, he's going to cut off the distance. Now, the question will be, how does Andrade weather that storm? And does he have that power that Benavidez could respect that he couldn't respect against Caleb Plant? And I do think he does. And that's where this fight really gets interesting for me. Because when you go back to my point about Crawford and Spence, a lot of people didn't give Crawford, how can I say it? They didn't give him, props for being strong. Like, I saw him put down Kell Brook with a jab, right? And a lot of people thought that Spence was going to walk him down. Well, I don't think a lot of people is giving credit for the underrated pop that Andrade has. So listen, I would not be surprised if Andrade really shocks us all in regards to potentially knocking down David Benavidez. Although very unlikely, I don't see that happening, but I won't rule that out. Now, I don't know, bro. These are two of my favorite fighters out right now. I gotta be real, they are. And I think for me, the reason why I'm gonna go with Andrade to win this fight, right? Now, I gotta be real with you, bro. And I gotta be real with all you guys. This fight is a 50-50 fight, right? And I had a dream a month ago, okay? And I'm talking about a real dream here. I went to sleep, minding my business, trying to get some rest. I don't go saying what I want to dream. I don't go write things down that I want to dream this and that. Like, I don't. I go to bed and I dream however I dream, okay? We all know how weird dreams could be, okay? You could be not thinking about somebody and that person pop up in your dream. But my point being, I had a dream that Andrade won this fight, okay? I did. And I'm talking about a real dream here. That I woke up the next day and Andrade won the fight. So I'm going to stick by my dream because they call me the Lil Stradamus for a reason. I call myself the Lil Stradamus for a reason. I'm going to stick by that, okay? I had a prophet dream that Andrade won the fight, and I'm going to stick by that. And I think when you factor in his amateur experience, when you factor in his fundamentals, when you factor in his ability to control the distance, when you factor in his awkward ability, I'm not sure if Benavidez is going to figure him out in time. Now, I do think Benavidez, late in the fight, is going to come on very strong. But for whatever reason, I don't think it will be enough to make up the distance of rounds being lost by trying to figure out Andrade. I think Andrade will outpoint David Benavidez and win this fight via split decision. But it's going to be a close fight, and I can see this fight going two ways, to be honest with you, okay? I really can see it going two ways. I can see it going the way how I just said, or I can see it where Benavidez stops Andrade. But however, I think my first, way, which is Andrade winning no points, is what's going to happen. Now, it's been a frustrating career for both of these fighters. In particular, Andrade, who hasn't fought nobody and nobody has called him out. Nobody has wanted to fight him, and you kind of get botched in when you're not as entertaining, so you don't bring nothing from a profit, perspective, and you're very dangerous. Like, yeah, I know you can beat me, based off fundamentals. But now it's his time, and I think that Benavidez may be overconfident. I was having a conversation with my boy, and I know he's going to be watching this video. So to my guy, Kenny, right? And we was talking about, is Andrade going to wake up for the moment? Like, is the moment too big for him? Because he never been on a stage like this. And I did thought he was a little bit nervous at the press conference, right? Now, he did, shell some jokey jokes, in between. But that doesn't mean you're, confident, right? Like, that doesn't mean anything. I'm a jokester too. But sometimes I tell the most jokes when I'm not confident, when I am shy. So, is the moment too big for him? But I'm going to flip that. Is Benavidez too confident? Because this guy been stopping everybody, dominating everybody. Is this guy too confident? And is he walking into an experienced guy who's going to box circles around him? Those are the questions. So really and truly and realistically, I can see this fight going two different ways. But my mind is telling me, okay? My mind is telling me that Andrade will win this fight, and we'll see what happens. So make sure y'all like and subscribe to the channel. I hope you enjoyed my breakdown. This is straight off the top of the dome right here on the phone, okay? And shalom.